WSIC.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
All Things Saine. Representative Jason Saine.
And good morning. Welcome to All Things Saine here on WSIC. I'm your host, State Representative Jason Saine. Great to be with you this week. We're remote. I'm broadcasting from the District 97 in Lincoln County, just across the lake. We do it from where we're at, and today it just happens to be in Lincoln County. Got some meetings with constituents. Also did a radio show just before I came on here down in Louisiana, and unfortunately didn't have a translator, but nevertheless, I learned to speak Cajun pretty quickly, and was on a show fellow named Moon Griffon, and had a great Louisiana accent, but great guy. Wanted me to be on there to talk about tax reform and what we've been doing in North Carolina over the last decade, and why so many people are moving here and helping us cause those traffic problems. But it's a much better problem to have than the problem they got in Louisiana, where people are leaving in droves and their taxes are way too high and they're spending way too much money in their state government. So a good friend of mine who's a state senator down there, Blake McGuez, had me come on that show just to tell him what we were doing in North Carolina and prove to him that it can be done. But joining me this morning, very excited about this, is one of my colleagues from the State House. Representative Jarrod Lowrey is on with us. He is coming to us live from Milwaukee. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And, you were an hour behind you, so you actually woke me up a little early this morning from the week-long party we're having. But I'm glad to be here.
I've been to a few of those conventions, and I know there's a couple Bible studies that you probably went to last night, and I'm sure it's been a lot of fun. And I always think that Milwaukee in the summer is the place I want to be. It's amazing though what they do. They really roll out the red carpet, and I'm sure they're treating you to a fine time because it's fun. It's a time to celebrate. Whether you're in the Republican Party or the Democrat Party, your national conventions are a pretty big deal, and you get to see. This is your first convention, isn't that right?
Yes, sir. My first one.
How many folks do we have from North Carolina there as part of the delegation? Because I know they break up the breakdown of who's you get a delegate, you get alternate delegates. I've been both, and been able to travel as a companion with a good friend, Brad Howard, who's from Iredell County, which is where WSIC tower is at, and I went with him down to Tampa some years ago as a hurricane blew through. But how many folks you got from North Carolina there?
I tell you, between the delegates, the alternate delegates, the guests, there's well over 100 from North Carolina, and we have a delegate breakfast every single morning that starts around 8:30 and 9 o'clock, and we all get together. And we've heard from folks like Dr. Ben Carson, Speaker Mike Johnson, Congressman David Rouser. There's been a lot of folks coming through. There's well over 100 of us, and we're staying united. We try to do everything together as we can, but it has been a great time for North Carolina delegation.
Oh, it's a lot of fun, and you make friendships on those trips. You're with people from all across the state because that's how that works. Every congressional district gets to elect their alternates and their delegates to the convention, and then there's members at large that come to it. I think through the state party and different ways. Those get appointed. Some of our donors that help us, be able to compete with Democrats and beat Democrats. So you got those folks too, which is not bad for a state representative who's a up and comer and one of those that people are looking to the future to be mixing with those folks. And you're definitely making a huge footprint. But this is your first one. And are you as a delegate from your congressional district? Is that how you're there?
So I'm actually a delegate at large. I'm an alternate delegate at large.
Yep.
I am currently, we're about to be in the 8th congressional district. So Mr. John Stewart is our district chairman, and we have a great district team. But I am blessed to be an alternate delegate. And I tell you what, you talk about being able to meet people and just build relationships. I mean, I'm going to be saying, 18 years from now that, hey, I went to Milwaukee with you. We took a picture with Ben Carson together. So it's you're right, and not just that, been able to see folks from other states as well, and seeing some of the traditions that they have. I mean, you know who the Texans are. You know, you're not going to guess who a Texan is because they all wear hats.
They're easy to spot. They're
Right.
easy to spot.
And you got the guys from Tennessee that's wearing all these orange shirts and, trying to blind you with the orange. But it's really neat to see, folks from other delegations and just Republicans coming together as one. Really neat.
Well, that's really what it's about. Nikki Haley, I watched last night, address the convention, and unless you didn't pay attention during the primary, was really kind of Donald Trump's nemesis, if you will. Stayed in longer than anybody, and what exactly for a while there, a group hug. But conventions are about getting everybody back on the same sheet of music. And even with differences, and she talked about differences within the party and differences with people across the nation, but unity was a big part of her speech too. And how do you get people who sometimes and oftentimes are going to disagree? You and I get to do it at the State House a lot. We get to work with people that politically aren't aligned with you or I, but we find ways to find a happy medium. I know that's not the exciting thing that reporters like to report on. That kind of gets you a yawn. It turns out about 94%, 96% of the things we vote on are very bipartisan. But at a party convention, there's differences within the Republican Party. I know the other side likes to paint us with one big brush, and you come from an area that hasn't always been Republican. And talk a little bit about that. Talk about your district. Tell us about where you come from.
Yeah. So I represent District 47, which is in Robeson County. I am the first Republican that we know of, ever hold this seat. We are a very racially diverse county. We're the only county east of the Mississippi where the majority of people are American Indian. And so we're a really triracial county. We've got a strong American Indian population, white population, and black population. And I am actually the sixth American Indian to ever serve in the General Assembly, and the first Lumbee Republican, or the first American Indian Republican to serve in the General Assembly. Very rural area, very hardworking area. For a long time, farming, manufacturing with the backbone, like most places in rural eastern North Carolina. It's kind of changing a little bit, diversifying a little bit. We have the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, which was actually founded to educate American Indian teachers to go into Indian schools. That has grown into this awesome, just university, and they're starting to diversify with some health programs. So to me, it's the best place on earth. I invite everybody to come. We got the best food in the world.
You do.
Yeah. If anybody sees me, they can tell that I do partake in our food quite a lot. But
GQ is not calling me or you right now, but that's okay.
Well, I tell you, we so for anyone listening, Jason, I know that you know this. We have something unique in Robeson County called collard sandwiches, and we love to make them in the summertime and the wintertime. So if anybody ever comes through Robeson County, you got to get a collard sandwich. And we can have a whole conversation on food later on.
Well, we can do that. We can do that. We're about 15 seconds for the break, but we got Jarrod Lowrey. He's state representative, one of my colleagues from the North Carolina House. He's at the National Republican Convention, having a great time. He's going to tell us more about it and about his experiences. We'll be back right after this short break. Thanks for listening to WSIC.
There's more All Things Saine with NC Representative Jason Saine on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
One more day of tough heat, and then we start to get a bit of a break and even some better opportunities to get some much-needed rainfall. Partly cloudy sky today is high temperature.
Good job there, gentlemen.
Upper 90s. We'll keep an eye out for an isolated shower or thunderstorm working into the afternoon and evening. Overnight, it'll stay muggy and warm. Temperatures fall down into the low to mid-70s. For our Thursday, though, upper 80s and low 90s, and a better chance of those scattered showers and storms. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Nina's Boutique.
Here's
Here's your WSIC community calendar. On Thursday, Brookdale Village in Huntersville welcomes Dave Scott Crow's Amusination Academy, an afternoon of imagination, music, and amusement will be on the green at Brookdale Village. Dave's Amusination concert and Pick Me Up Mike are crowd favorites. Come relax and enjoy, or take the stage. It's perfect for the whole family. The fun begins at 4:30 Thursday afternoon, July 18th on the green at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. Langtree Live continues their live music series on Thursday. Alex Key takes the stage at 7 p.m. for this free concert. Event time is 6:30. Bring your chairs early and enjoy the food and beverages that Langtree restaurants have to offer. We'll see you on Thursday evening for Langtree Live's free concert series. Come see the coolest cars, trucks, and motorcycles at Hot Rods and Hops this Friday night at RevFast in Mooresville. This monthly show welcomes all auto enthusiasts with vehicles on display, food trucks, beer from Hoptown Brewing, and the Hot Rod community. Come see old friends and make some new ones on Friday night after 5 at the Late Apex Storage Condos in Mooresville for Hot Rods and Hops. The kids edition of Battle of the Bands takes place Sunday at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville. 6 bands, 2 stages, song versus song, set versus set with one champion. Come see the future of the local music scene powered by Waves Entertainment. 4 p.m. Sunday at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville with the kids edition of Battle of the Bands. The Cookout Summer Shootout Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway gives you your midweek Need for Speed. This 10-race series, night number 9, is on Tuesday, July 23rd on the front stretch quarter-mile oval. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for...
All right, gentlemen, we are about to be back live on air here in about 15 seconds.
Community and much more, including amazing local deals. Download the WSIC News app today.
Call now to speak with NC Representative Jason Saine at 844-STUDIO-4. It's All Things Saine on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
All Things Saine. Representative Jason Saine.
We've got fun and games. We got everything you want, honey. We know the names. We are the people that can find whatever you may need.
And welcome back to WSIC. You're listening to All Things Saine. I'm your host, State Representative Jason Saine. Joining me today is State Representative Jarrod Lowrey. He is coming to us live from Milwaukee. He is having a big time up there with the delegation from North Carolina as we await the vice presidential nominee speeches and President Trump, our presidential nominee. Those speeches will come later this week. But in the meantime, you're getting to meet lots of people from all across the country and getting to see a lot of familiar faces that you only see on television. You've had a good opportunity to bump into a few of those. What's that been like?
Oh, well, I tell you, it's been a really neat experience. I'd say it's been awesome. Like yesterday, I was walking around the arena. There's some speeches going on, and I want to go get me something to drink. So I get out my seat. I'm walking around the arena, and I'm walking. I look up, and I see this guy, and he's huge. And I look up, he's like 7 foot tall, and I'm like, oh man, is that who I think it is? And it's Glenn Jacobs, it's Kane from the WWE, who's a mayor in Tennessee, and he's just standing there giving an interview. And I walk right by him like he's an average person, and I've seen this guy my entire life. He's been a big red machine. I mean, it's kind of cool. You see people, especially media personalities. I got to see Sean Hannity yesterday, and he was followed by droves of folks just trying to say hey. And
Sure.
you get to see some stuff like that. And I tell you, there's one incident yesterday, instance yesterday, I thought was really neat. After I saw Kane, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep on walking because I still haven't found me something to drink yet. And at RNC, at these conventions, there's media booths where Fox News or CNN or whoever set up. And people were gathering around one, and I looked up, and there was Secret Service, and it was plainclothes Secret Service, Secret Service with ARs. And I'm like, okay, this is definitely somebody important. This isn't just anybody. And so I get in line. I'm like, all right, I want to see who this is. And about 2 minutes later, the door opens up, and here's Senator J.D. Vance, 10 feet from me. And I'm like, wow, I just saw this guy on the convention floor the other day, and now he's soon to be vice president right in front of me. And, you have experiences like that. I saw Peter Ducey just randomly introducing somebody from Fox News. I mean, how do you, these are opportunities or experiences you don't have every single day. And listen, I'm still a person, I'm still a human. So to see these folks that I see on TV, it's a really cool experience.
It is. It's and I'm glad you're getting to experience. I think everybody that's involved in politics should, and if you're not involved, get involved, because guess what? Politics is involved in your life, whether you know it or not. And but get involved, and it's an experience like none other. Jarrod, how old are you now?
I am 35.
35. So you're one of the younger members of the legislature. You pointed out that you're the first Republican Lumbian ever to serve at the legislature. But your brother is pretty involved in the Lumbee tribe as well. He's currently the chief of the Lumbee tribe.
Yeah, yes, sir. My brother, my big brother, Jarrod Lowrey. He's our chief. He is the youngest chief in Lumbee tribal history. He's actually up for re-election this year too. But he has done a phenomenal job, in my opinion, of not only leading the people and making sure that the tribal government's trains run on time, but just building relationships. And in politics, that's huge. Democracy, we know, isn't a spectator sport, so you got to get involved. But
right.
When you become a leader, just building relationships, and you've met him several times. I mean, he's been to the General Assembly, he's been to DC, and I will say he's probably been our most engaged chairman, and I think that's hugely beneficial for the people.
Well, you both, your family obviously cares a lot about your community, the people you represent. And look, you're the only person at the legislature who's ever got me to dance and sing at the same damn time, which I don't do, but for my friends, I made an exception. And we had Lumbee Day at the legislature. I guess it was last year. I think this year I was gone for some reason on a trip or something, but last year got to do that. Incredible experience. Just the hospitality. You're talking about food earlier, and we'll get back to convention in a minute. But the food, you guys know how to do it right. And those collard sandwiches, amazing. Just good Southeast North Carolina food, and come back from decades and centuries of traditions, and it's neat to be a part of that. That you were able to bring that to the legislature and really expand it with everybody. We just had if I mess up the title, I apologize. But is it the Lumbee Princess? Is that the right title? The young lady that spoke to us on the House floor,
Miss Lumbee.
Miss Lumbee. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember how that was. So Miss Lumbee, she addressed the legislature couple of weeks ago. That was a pretty neat experience. I posted it up on my Facebook, and of course know her dad, and remember going out to dinner with that young lady when she was just 13, 14 years old maybe, but it's just proud traditions, but the Lumbee Nation is not recognized yet federally, not federally, but you've done a lot in North Carolina to really bring awareness and recognition to the Lumbee tribe. By you being there, you have certainly made an impact in the people, people's lives that you represent. And for I'm a Western North Carolina guy. Love Southeastern North Carolina, but don't get out there often. It's you can't get there from here sometimes.
Right.
And so but you've done a lot just as an ambassador for your people, which I think speaks one to your credit. How long have you been at the legislature? You're in your second term, right?
No, my first term.
See, you're such a stalwart. I feel like you've been there a lot longer. I've known you a long time. You got to work in the McCory administration, and you're a Marine, heck of a patriot. But my memory fails sometimes, but you and I worked together on so much in the short time that you've been there, and you've done so much. People recognize that. So to your credit, people don't get to say thank you often, and you don't get the credit you deserve. But you've done an incredible job. We've got to work together. I'm the conference leader right now, although that's about to change. But I'm the conference leader, and you're one of my deputy conference leaders, and do a heck of a job there too. So I just want to say, one, thank you. And two, let's talk a little bit about that. What has it been like since you got to the legislature and working, really as an ambassador, not just a representative, but an ambassador for your people?
Well, let me first say I appreciate the kind words. You have been a great mentor to me. I look up to you. I think you are. Don't tell any of our colleagues this, but you're my favorite legislator. And definitely don't let Senator Danny Britt hear that, okay? If he's listening, no.
I'm just going to clip it and send it to him. That's all.
But no, you've been a true mentor to me, and I tell you, I'm really going to miss you. Just to let you know, I'm gonna miss you, but you're gonna get calls from me.
I won't be far.
I hope not. it has been a great experience for me, and I tell you, being the only American Indian in the General Assembly, we have 7 other tribes in the state of North Carolina. And one of the very first events that I actually got to speak at as a state representative in March of last year was the North Carolina Indian Unity Conference in Raleigh. And it was really, really neat. They packed the room out, and I go up on stage, nervous, of course, as always. But the weight's on my shoulders that not only do I represent the people of Robeson County, but I have these other tribes looking at me, saying, "Hey, this guy's one of us. He's representing us too. He's pushing the cart forward, for us of progress, forward." And that weight on my shoulders, I feel it, I understand it, and I try my best to make sure I advocate. Like you said, not just for Robeson County or Lumbee people, but the entire community, the entire American Indian community. And I will say this: our caucus, our Republican caucus, has been very open and willing to have those conversations and learn, and I appreciate that. I get that I bring a unique perspective where I can talk about some of these issues. And I am very glad that you guys have been open to that. The whole General Assembly has, and we've been able to get some things accomplished. The first bill I ever got signed into law was the American Indians Graduating with Honors Act. It allows American Indian students to wear a feather at high school graduation. To show some a cultural significant object of cultural significance, being a feather, which is very important in our culture. And people told me a lot of times, Jared, I don't know if it's going to happen. It's going to be tough. But I had conversations with everyone, and it passed unanimously in both chambers. The governor signed it, and we've had students here graduating with feathers. And it was something really big for a community that might not be important to many people across the state, but for these folks who, or some of them still, maybe have an opportunity to go to college for the first time, and the first person in their family, but they got to graduate high school. It's huge for them. It's pretty big. And so I've been able to have some of those conversations, explain some of those, tell some of those stories. The caucus has been open and receptive. And that's what we do in North Carolina General Assembly. We debate. We talk about things. I don't know what they do in D.C. But here in North Carolina, we debate. We talk. We go back and forth. And I think we have passed great legislation this year, and you have led the effort over the past decade to lead some awesome legislation to put North Carolina where it's at. So I go back to what I said at the beginning. Thank you for your leadership and for your mentorship. I'm a better legislator because I had Jason Saine in my first term. And I will be saying that, 2, 3, 4 terms, ever how long the people of Robeson County send me, I will still say that I'm a better legislator because I had you as a friend my first term.
Well, you're a great friend, and thank you. You're very kind, and like I told you, and I tell everybody that comes in there, you just look on the walls, and they've got pictures of old white guys from the 40s and 50s and 60s and all that, and there were many before us, and there'll be many after us. But while we're there, we do get to make a difference in the lives of everyone in North Carolina. And that goes for Republican and Democrat. And I think everybody comes at it with a servant's heart, and you certainly are one of those folks. We'll be back in just a moment. Jarrod Lowrey, state representative. We'll talk to him more about his experiences in Milwaukee. Thanks for listening to All Things Saine.
We'll be back with more of All Things Saine with NC Representative Jason Saine after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Great job, guys. That's the second segment is done. Absolutely. You guys got a couple of minutes here. Everything's sounding great. Yeah, you guys have about 3.5 minutes or so on this break.
For our Thursday, though, upper 80s and low 90s and a better chance of those scattered showers and storms. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing
but the prices are cooling down at Randy Marion Ford Lincoln here in Statesville. How about this? Over $8,000 off F-150s. That's the XLT trim, that's the Lariat trim, that's the Platinum trim, that's the Limited trim. That is the Crew Cab, that is the Super Cab. You name it, Randy Marion Ford. We got it right here in Statesville at a big discount on F-150s. Again, over $8,000 off. Come see us today, I-77, exit 49B.
Looking for a large private room for your next work function? Or maybe you need a place to bring the whole family for a delicious meal? Pomodoros of Mooresville has the perfect space for your crowd. Book your next event at pomodoros.com.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Did you know that Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief for nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea? Of course you do, because everyone knows the Pepto song. But did you know that Pepto also comes in convenient and delightful solid forms?
Pepto has very fast melts, cherry chewables, liquid caps that make relief easy.
Pepto makes relief on the go easy. So when you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The market is nervously watching Boeing today as the company's largest union votes on whether to approve a strike. It's also holding a rally at T-Mobile Park, the home stadium of the Seattle Mariners. It dials up pressure on the company as contract talks enter a crucial phase ahead of a potential walkout in September. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers represents about 32,000 Boeing mechanics in Washington and Oregon. Investors are feeling a little better about Johnson & Johnson today after beating profit forecast for last quarter. Shares are up 3%. J&J stock has been falling this year amid worries over costs related to several recent acquisitions, the soon-coming patent expiration on its popular anti-inflammatory...
All right, gentlemen, we have 30 seconds. We'll be back in about, well, now it's about 20 seconds. All right, here we go.
Mixing it up right now, Dow gaining 0.25% in fresh record territory. NASDAQ, though, aggressively pulling back more than 2% now. S&P 500 down 1%. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Now back to All Things Sane with NC Representative Jason Saine on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
All Things Saine with Representative Jason Saine.
And welcome back to All Things Saine. I'm your host, State Representative Jason Saine. We're here on WSIC. We do this every Wednesday from 11 to 12, but you can catch us on the podcast anywhere you pick those up. Generally, you can find us. You can also watch us live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and on the station website. And WSIC has a new app where you can download that. It makes it real easy. You can just get it right there on your phone or your device, or whatever you watch us on. But love having you listen. Love the emails and the correspondence we get, call-ins, and everything else. So today, though, we've got State Representative Jarrod Lowrey, who's a good friend of mine at the legislature. He had to remind me that he is a lowly freshman, which none of us think of him as, because he does such a great job. He's involved in so much. So I think you can take that freshman off your label now. You're pretty close to being you are a veteran, but you'll hopefully coast into your second term. We do have the November elections coming up, so you're a candidate for office, and we want to do everything we can to help you and get you in. But I know your folks have got to be proud, and everyone you represent, and I know that because they come to the legislature. One of the things that you've helped facilitate is, getting people just to come to the legislature. And I tell people all the time, you can either be the dinner guest or you can be dinner. And if you're not participating at the legislature, that could be a mistake. And you've proven that if folks get engaged and involved, good things can happen. So kudos to you, sir. That is in a very short time, you've accomplished a lot. But you got it. We became instant friends when we first met, and I knew that you would be a great member of the team, and you have proven me right. And I just can't say thank you enough that you're yet another one I bet on and made a great bet. And it turns out I do a little betting too.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, you've had quite the experience in Milwaukee. You're an alternate delegate, and for folks that don't understand how that works, they're at large, or you're an at large alternate delegate. And North Carolina gets allotted so many slots, as do the other states. Part of that's based on how they've been casting their votes and population, a lot of other things. But and I won't get into the myriad of RNC rules, and tell the truth, I don't totally understand them. So, but fact of the matter is, you're there, and you're there with our entire delegation. I know our Congress people are there. I've seen pictures from a lot of my friends who were there, and I didn't realize that you got to give the opening Pledge of Allegiance at the convention on Monday. And you said earlier you get nervous before you speak, and I do too. But you're such a professional that no one knows it when you are nervous. And I didn't get to watch it because I didn't know it was coming. But tell me about that experience. How did you get to do that?
Well, I tell you, I reached out to the state party chairman about a month ago, Jason Simmons, and I said, hey, if there's anything I can assist with, like any way I can help, let me know. I want to help, and I actually reached out to the national chairman, Michael Watley, who used to be the North Carolina chairman, and I said,
Gaston County, my neck of the woods.
Yep. And I said, hey, if there's anything I can assist with, I'll be glad to help. I just want to help, whatever I can do, make the convention, go smoothly. And he said, all right. And about 2 weeks ago, I got an email saying, hey, would you be in? We were inviting you to say the pledge, to start open up the convention, and to not tell anybody, and nobody can know about it. So I couldn't tell anybody. I guess now I can tell you. I told my wife. She needed to know. Right?
She needed to know. That's okay. I think that's allowed, right?
Yeah. And so, we get to the convention on Sunday, but Sunday, but Monday morning they come pick me up. So it's a really neat experience for me. They come pick me up in a black SUV. They take me down to the FISA Forum arena where we're having the convention. They take me in the speaker's lounge, and they got all this food, and hey, just hang out here. We'll take care of you. We go into this rehearsal room where there is a podium, and there is the teleprompters, and I'm over here reading the pledge, and we go through it a couple of times and say, all right, we'll go back to the speaker's lounge, and then we're going to go on stage and practice. And everything's choreographed. I mean, every second of the convention is accounted for. So they know exactly when they want me to walk on, and so I practice, and it's an empty arena. The sound's on, and I say the pledge. I'm like, all right, this isn't going to be too bad. I mean, I've been doing it my entire life. And for the past 2 weeks, I've been in the shower, I pledge allegiance to the flag. Don't want to get wrong. And so the evening gets here, and they take me back to the speaker's lounge. And I'm sitting in the speaker's lounge with people like Congressman Wesley Hunt, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, Lee Greenwood. I mean, there's all kinds of folks in there. And then they call my number. So I get up. Well, before that, I go to a makeup. And Jason, I'm telling you, first time I ever got makeup done. So it's another experience for me. They're doing my hair. They're putting makeup on me. Trying to help this out. My face here a little bit for those who can't see. They're trying to fix it up.
They can only work with what they got,
Right. I mean, listen, it's a canvas. It's not a nice canvas, but it's a canvas. And so we go through the motions, and I go up on, go up to the little waiting area, and the guy taps me on the shoulder, and I'm walking out. And as I'm walking out, the lights are glaring. There's people in the audience. There's all these TV screens. They just presented the color, so everybody's standing looking at me. There's nobody. There's no side conversations going on. And I'm like, okay, this is it. Just do what I do. Do what I'm supposed to do. And I had picked before about making sure I don't forget the pledge. But after Saturday, I think it meant a lot more, because I think the Pledge of Allegiance is one thing that she not us all, that we all know how to do. And I made sure that I did what I was supposed to do. I got up there and I said the pledge. It was a really neat experience. I don't think I've ever been viewed by that many people before. But I will say this. One thing that made it even more special, I had so many people from back home, so many of my community members, so many Lumbee people who were taking pictures in their living room because they were shocked to see their neighbor, to see somebody who looked like them, who sounded like them on this national stage. And I've had so many people, send me pictures, send me messages, just so proud, to have somebody from their community that they had no idea would be there. And that's really special. I mean, it really, really is. I think probably in both conventions 100 years ago, you wouldn't never had a Lumbee. Actually, they've never had a Lumbee on stage, so I made a little history. But for me, that's just that what we were talking about earlier. It's just a little extra special for those folks back home. So it means even so much more to me. But it was really cool. I'm telling you, for folks, just think about walking out. There's 20,000 people looking at you, but there's now televisions, television screens and cameras. It was awesome. I can't really explain it any other way. It's just a really awesome experience.
It's got to be. It's got to be just incredible. Matter of fact, how I first learned, since you couldn't even tell your good friend that you were going to be on, I saw someone else cross post on Facebook where they had taken their camera, their phone, and taken a shot of you saying the pledge while they were sitting in their living room and had your picture up on Facebook. And which I thought was, man, that's really cool. I mean, I sort of can imagine what that's like. You practice, and with no audience. But when you walk out and those lights are very hot, very intense, and you realize, like, man, this is real all of a sudden.
and I say one more thing: if you were watching from the pictures I saw, if you were watching Fox News, you had Eric Trump on one side and Jarrod Lowrey on the other. So I've been on the TV with some Trumps, okay? So I've had that experience.
That's awesome. I mean, and look, something that not many people get to do, and certainly you're the first of your kind to be able to do that, which is amazing. But you've had a lot going on. I mean, you get elected. This is your first term as a legislator. You're a young Republican. You're a Marine. You're a husband and a dad.
Yes.
How old's your y'all's child?
She's 19 months old.
19 months. Yeah.
And we were getting sworn in back in January. I think she was maybe 2 weeks old.
Wow.
And, to look at the pictures and see her now, I tell you what, the hardest thing, oh man, you're going to have me tearing up over here. I'm glad nobody can see me. So Monday she started daycare. And my wife was there, seeing all these pictures and stuff. And oh man, she had a tough time that first day. But yesterday was better. And I really do miss her, but it really, and I know you and others, you definitely feel the same way. To me, when I started campaigning for this office, I was a husband, but that was it. I didn't even know we were going to have a baby.
Right.
And now that I have a child, being in the legislature means so much more because we're really transformed. We have the opportunity to transform our community and our state, and it makes me want to work even harder because I want to make her proud.
It's all about perspective, and you just nailed it. People ask me, why do you do it? Why does it matter to you? Jackson was about 3.5 when I took the appointment to the legislature, and I always give the example of when I speak, say, look, if I can't go back, and there's some legislators I wonder if they can do this, but if I can't go back and justify to my family why I've been doing what I've been doing, then I don't need to be there. And I know you feel the same way. We're talking with Jarrod Lowrey. He is a delegate at the National Republican Convention. We'll be back in just a moment after these messages here on WSIC.
Keep it right here. All Things Saine with NC Representative Jason Saine will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
One more day of tough heat, and then we
Great job, guys. One more segment. You have about 2 minutes.
Rainfall, partly cloudy sky today.
I was just saying, great job. You guys got one more segment. We'll be back on air in about 2 minutes.
Into the afternoon and evening. Overnight, it'll stay muggy and warm. Temperatures fall down into the low and mid 70s. For our Thursday, though, upper 80s and low 90s, and a better chance of those scattered showers and storms. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. On Thursday, Brookdale Village in Huntersville welcomes Dave Scott Crow's Amusination Academy. An afternoon of imagination, music, and amusement will be on the green at Brookdale Village. Dave's Amusination concert and Pick Me Up Mike are crowd favorites. Come relax and enjoy, or take the stage. It's perfect for the whole family. The fun begins at 4:30 Thursday afternoon, July 18th on the green at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. Langtree Live continues their live music series on Thursday. Alex Key takes the stage at 7 p.m. for this free concert. Event time is 6:30. Bring your chairs early and enjoy the food and beverages that Langtree restaurants have to offer. We'll see you on Thursday evening for Langtree Live's free concert series. Come see the coolest cars, trucks, and motorcycles at Hot Rods and Hops this Friday night at RevFast in Mooresville. This monthly show welcomes all auto enthusiasts with vehicles on display, food trucks, beer from Hoptown Brewing, and the Hot Rod community. Come see old friends and make some new ones on Friday night after 5 at the Late Apex Storage Condos in Mooresville for Hot Rods and Hops. The kids edition of Battle of the Bands takes place Sunday at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville. 6 bands, 2 stages, song versus song, set versus set with 1 champion. Come see the future of the local music scene powered by Waves Entertainment. 4 p.m. Sunday at Ghostface Brewing.
All right, gentlemen, we got about 30 seconds before we are back live. Have some fun in this final segment.
Motor Speedway gives you your midweek Need for Speed. This 10-race series, night number 9, is on Tuesday, July 23rd on the front stretch quarter-mile oval. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for tickets, details, and information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Now back to All Things Saine with NC Representative Jason Saine on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right.
And welcome back to All Things Saine here on WSIC. You can call us, 844-788-3464, but as we often do, we get so involved in the conversation. Hopefully you enjoy listening to it, but we do take calls. You can call. We've got Representative Jarrod Lowrey, who's on with us today, live from Milwaukee. He is a delegate at the National Republican Convention, or Republican National Convention, however you want to say that. But you've got quite the experience already. You could just pack up and go home, but you're just getting started. You've been on television, leading all the delegates in the Pledge of Allegiance. We were just talking about that. But every day is something new, all leading up to that prime time slot where they get everybody onto the floor and people get into the convention hall. And that's a massive thing. There's security everywhere. I got to be a delegate in 2000 for George W. Bush, which was awesome. I was in Philadelphia for that. My then girlfriend got to go with me, who's now my wife. So she was my guest, and then I've been to Tampa as a guest of someone else, and from pre 9/11 to post 9/11, security has really changed. You're a Marine. I don't say you're a former Marine. I know better because my father-in-law is a Marine. Appreciate your service there, sir.
Absolutely.
To the country, and certainly appreciate your service today. But you get to see it firsthand. You've had to go through the security. It is no small task trying to protect a national political convention in our country. And God bless everyone who's protecting you all. And after the events on Saturday, hopefully, fingers crossed, everyone is safe. You and I have been at rallies just like that. Donald Trump has come to your area. I think about, I've got this great picture of Jackson, and his eyes are like this big because we're Michael Watley, our friend, and now the national chairman of the party, made sure that I was sitting right beside of the stage as President Trump walked down and when he was campaigning in the last election, and our son just lit up like a Christmas tree because we're 5 feet away from him as he walked. But you imagine that what we saw on Saturday could have happened while we've been at some of these rallies, and you're literally right there in the middle of it, the thick of it right now, and so many people are working day in and day out. I talked to a friend of mine with CMPD and Charlotte Fire who's there. There's folks from law enforcement and emergency professionals from all across the country and military all across the country who were there. So we want to make sure that everyone stays safe for both conventions. We don't need anything like what happened on Saturday ever happening again. People are freaking crazy, and we know that there are some who are freaking crazy. There's not a good way to say that. Some people dress it up, but I just call it like it is. But hey, there's a big presence here. You're seeing it.
Oh yeah, and I tell you what. First off, the professionalism of these law enforcement agents who are coming from all across the country has been phenomenal. And we do. Me and several. I know just about every delegate does their best to try to thank each and every one of them for being here because they're out in the sun all day long. They're here 24 hours, 24/7 almost. But I say this: they are everywhere. We have in the hotel that I am in, we are in what's called the second perimeter. So you got the initial perimeter right around the convention, and you got a second layer, and there's a third layer. So we're in the second layer, and we have law enforcement in our hotel all the time. They're always walking the streets. They're on horses. They're on horseback, bicycle. They're all over the place, and the presence is heavy, and they're doing a fantastic job. I spoke with a group from Miami, Florida yesterday, from the city of Miami, and I picked with them, and I said, hey, now if I win the lottery, I'm moving to Miami. Buy me a house down there, and you guys can keep me safe. But I've seen some from Cary, North Carolina, all across the country, and they're doing, like I said, a phenomenal job. And I tell you, I think everyone here feels safe. I mean, it's hard not to feel safe with the amount of security you have to go through just to get to the hotel. Not much the convention, not less the convention center. And getting down there, you go through a whole nother level of security again. And I tell you, once you make it in that perimeter, it's probably the safest place in America right now. And that's a testament. That's a testament not wanting just to keep people safe, or maybe because the president's here, but it is the absolute, skills and professionalism of those law enforcement agents. And there's plenty of firefighters here too. There's fire trucks everywhere.
That's being a firefighter. I know there's some free meals, so of course we're there. That's what we do. Just kidding, but yeah, there's a lot of folks there.
And I say this now. Now there's a heavy police presence, but when the Secret Service comes through, that's a whole nother level. I was somewhere yesterday when Donald Trump Jr. was coming by, and he gets protection, and it's like the seas were parting, and if the seas weren't parting, you were getting moved out of the way, and it's a whole different level to see the Secret Service come through.
It really is, and for folks that don't get to be in the middle of something like this, you see versions of it in movies and on television, but you really can't fully appreciate it until you see it up close and personal. I had the opportunity, I was telling you during the break, I had the opportunity to introduce Vice President Pence when he was vice president. And I was at the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C. And I'm chairman of this national organization at the time, and they won't tell me who's coming to speak. But it didn't take me long to deduct who it might be once I saw all the Secret Service folks who were there. And I've had the privilege of driving in motorcades for the Secret Service. Jack Kemp, when he was vice presidential nominee with Bob Dole, came to Charlotte, and they look for young volunteers who can make it past security clearance. And so I got to drive press around in Charlotte. This is an opportunity there, but never mind. Got to do that, and it's just it's a whole nother level of what you think of as security. But you've got and really do appreciate those folks who are protecting you all. But you've got a lot more to come with the convention. We're just on so it's Wednesday, so we got who's speaking tonight. If I'm guessing, I hadn't seen the master calendar, but is tonight Vance's chance to address the convention?
Yes, sir, and I'm very excited about that. Last night we had a great lineup of speakers. The who's who of the Republican Party spoke, and then tonight Senator Vance is speaking. I haven't got to see the lineup yet either. I'm excited, But I will say there's a lot of things that are just going on. I actually am participating on a panel today with Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen that is focusing on Indian priorities for. I'm excited to be a part of that. And there's so many of those going on as well, just different types of events. But the party begins at night, and I am excited. I am really excited to hear the crowd come alive when the future vice president walks on stage. So I will say this, a little bit of trivia for you. Senator Vance is going to be the first United States Marine to ever be vice president. And
Wow.
yeah, we've never had one, and I'm very excited about that. You know, he's very open about the skills that he learned in the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, leadership is what we breed, and so we're going to have a leader with the utmost, I think, character and duty. As a vice president, I'm really excited. As a Marine, I am really excited about that.
Well, I know that is exciting, and I can remember, like I say, when Catherine and I were at the convention in Philadelphia, we were sitting on the floor for the vice presidential nominee speech with Senator Locke Faircloth. He had retired from the U.S. Senate at that point, had lost his reelection bid, but we were sitting with him. Locke had been a longtime friend, and I can just remember it like it was yesterday. And then we were actually very fortunate, even though as an alternate delegate. And what'll happen for folks who don't know is people will trade their tickets. I guess you can still do that and say, okay, well, I'm a delegate and I've got this seat on the floor, and you're an alternate and your seat's a little higher up and away from the action. Just kind of depends on the arena and everything else. But we were fortunate to get both speeches and to be right there on the floor. And it is just absolutely electric. I mean, it's the thing, you've got all these things going on during the day. Like you say, you're on a panel. There's all kinds of social events. You don't go hungry, that's for sure. You don't go thirsty either. If that's right. That's what you're worried about. And it's a big party atmosphere, but there's a lot going on during the day too. And you start in the mornings with the breakfast, the delegation breakfast. There's not a lot of time to rest. You're a little tired, but then you just find your second and third wins as these speakers come on, because it's really exciting. So I'm thrilled that you're getting to experience that. They had asked me if I'd consider being a delegate this year. I just always feel like somebody else ought to have that opportunity. As fun as it is, that is. Matter of fact, I had ran as a delegate for Cleveland back when, and but then I knew there was somebody that really wanted to do it, and I said, hey, please let them have my spot. I was one of the appointed delegates from the party, but it's just great. I'm glad you're getting to do that. That's so exciting.
Well, I tell you, if anybody has an opportunity or wants the opportunity, get involved. Get involved in your county party. Come to state conventions, get to know some folks. Because, like I said, democracy isn't a spectator sport. In the Republican Party, we have a big tent. We encourage, I think, civic engagement, and part of that civic engagement is getting out and helping your political parties. And it's a big party here. So I invite anybody. I mean, after experiencing it one time this year, I can tell you that when I wake up Friday morning, I'm going to say, yes, I'm glad I was here, and everybody else needs to come too. And you need to experience this one time. Democrat, Republican. I mean, there's not too many times you get to celebrate really being a Republican, and that's what we're doing here. We're celebrating, our values and our conservative principles and our history, and we're celebrating the future president and vice president.
It's a party for the party. Representative Jarrod Lowrey, really appreciate you being on today. Have fun at the convention. Thanks for listening to All Things Saine here on WSIC. We'll be back next week. Thank you.
105.9, 100.7, WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.